Yep.
All right, guys. So we have Chris and his beautiful wife, Susan, here. And I'm very excited to actually share their beautiful stories. So why don't you guys please introduce yourselves? Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Um, my name's Chris Zanke, and this is my wife, Susan. We started this sort of exploration of journey. It's been a journey, opening up an Amazon store and creating a product and following Eileen's, sort of her template of how to do this. And, you know, I have to say it's been a fun journey. I've learned so much. Just as background, I was a senior executive with a Fortune 500 company, was part of a layoff situation. I'm getting, up in the years and making good money. And, the company just sort of, just decided that they don't need you. So I said, next thing I'm gonna do for myself. So a lot of personal exploration and had some time on my hands, and it's been awesome. And so I'll let Susan explain how she got into it.
Chris had this idea and somehow had heard about you and Empire Accelerator and came to me, and I'm more of a skeptic. And so I said, well, I don't know, do we know much about this? So I don't know if you remember this, Aylin, but I got on the call and I think I gave you some very deep questions that you all answered well. And I have to say that in a world of people that are trying to do not so great things, you guys have been amazing. Um, you have really got a system down. You've been through a lot of the hurdles and the roadblocks that we have gone through. This is not, I have said this to many people, I really don't know how people can do this without coaching. Honestly,
Yeah,
we have said that.
I don't know how I would have done it.
So, that being said, we have, Chris took a lot of the burden of this at the beginning because he was between jobs. He had more time. I have gotten involved more with the launch and post-launch of it. But the breadth of knowledge that you all have and the resources that you have shared to help us, choose what product we are going with, to explain why a product is not the best choice, and maybe not the best choice at this time, to help align us with resources for packaging, for producing, for testing, for photographing, things like that, that we would have had to find on our own. And I'm sure there would have been a lot of trial and error that we didn't have to go through because we were with your team. I'm missing out on anything?
Well, I mean, even from all the support, the shipping agents, the inspection agents, they've been all phenomenal. I mean, I I keep saying, hey, my girlfriend Susanna.
Oh yes, no, his.
Well, I have a girlfriend Sally in China.
And because we're in an opposite time zone, it'll be in the middle of the night and his phone will go off. I'll go, which girlfriend is that? You know? And then, once we got, I can't express the excitement when we launched. We were on vacation, all the things fell into place. And, we were able to launch our product. We are still learning the best way to position it. We are still tweaking our imagery, the wording and things. I personally work for a marketing company, although I'm technical. I work in the website application development world. So I am, not up to date on the most modern things. I do have colleagues I can bounce questions off of and so forth, but we have pretty much been going by all of your advice on how to do things. And we understand it's with any business, whether you're opening a pizza shop or an automotive repair place, You have to figure out who you're aiming for, what market you're going for, what is your edge, how are you better than someone else? You know, so we've really been looking at all of the different options and considering how can we get better reviews? Is it going to be through the product? Is it going to be through the advertising? Or is it what we put in the box that's going to greet the person the first thing? And so it creates a whole world of re-looking at everything you purchase. And he and I have said, oh, look, we just got this. Look at this great directions and things like that we would have never noticed before. But you can tell successful businesses are looking at every part of the process. And you guys have helped open our eyes to that. So we thank you for that. You know, a lot of times you'd think, well, you know, that's common sense. No, it's not always common sense. And probably the biggest hurdle we have had has been getting used to the Amazon Seller Central. Being technical background myself, what I wish I had time for, and I'd love to say I would do sometime, is just write down a manual of all the things that we've learned to try to help others just to navigate through it, because sometimes there are 3 different ways to do the same thing, and sometimes one thing works better than another.
Well, and I will say Seller Central is not easy to navigate. I mean, it is. And unfortunately, when you use the help, I mean, the help is there. I mean, literally within seconds, you'll get a call back, whether you can understand the individual calling you back or their knowledge level. I've had people hang up on me because they don't know my question. You know, so I have to call back again. You know, so Seller Central has been our biggest hurdle. I mean, recently, and I think, Aylin, you know this, that we were just deactivated for 3 days. And and it was because my bank account information wasn't updated. And I had been trying for 6 weeks to update our bank account information, and no one could help us. And here what it was something embarrassingly simple, that when I signed up for Seller Central, it says full name and then underneath it DBA. So I put my full name, and my DBA is of our company. But so when it comes up in Seller Central, it uses my DBA name. But when they wanted me to update my bank account information, it was giving me my full real name. And I said, my bank account information doesn't match my full real name because it's in my business name.
Yeah.
Well, here in Seller Central, they want you to put your business name as your full name, and the DBA is the same name. And it's not intuitive that since I was putting my business name as my DBA, I put my real name as my full name. So if they would have just had a little box to the side of it with an instruction, I would have never been deactivated hassle for 6 weeks, deactivated for 3 days. It's just like crazy stuff like that is our biggest frustration out of the whole thing, has been Amazon Seller Central.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing. You know, I really, really appreciate, you know, your true feedback and your true experience. And so and you mentioned that I remember Susan mentioned that, you know, she was refreshing the account and she was very excited. Tell me about that.
Oh, okay, hold on.
It becomes addicting.
And tell me more.
It's better than Candy Crush.
Yeah, I mean, we're both doing it probably. I probably do it 8 times a day. She probably does it 10 times a day.
I don't even know. I just have so I just want to sort of share this. I don't know if you can see that. So in the Amazon Seller app, you can see how many units you have sold per day, and you can see how many units. We have 3 different variations of our product. So I can go in, I can look at feedback, I can look at customer reviews, I can see which of the 3 variations of our product is selling best. And most importantly, I can see, and it's like the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, and it's the last thing I do before I go to bed, is to see how many units we're at. It's thrilling. I can't even think of the thing. It's fun. It's just really it's like having a child and you can't wait to see when it takes its first step. You know, it's kind of like seeing this, you know, and you're like, oh, we had a bad day. Why did we have a bad day? What can we do differently? Well, it's Tuesday. Maybe people aren't buying our thing on Tuesday. We have a good day. It's Saturday. Yes, more people are probably buying these things on a Saturday. So it's been a fun journey. Yeah.
The one thing I'll say, it's crazy to me, is the fact that it seems like as soon as we launched, the largest competitor in our niche discounted their product, and it's been discounted since we've launched. And so we've experimented with low price, and I hesitate to do that because I know where my costs are, and and I know I have to do this when we're testing the market, right? But I know at the price point I'm not making with PPC and my costs, I'm giving product away. And it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. And then we brought the price up higher to see if there was still a tolerance for, because I truly believe, and I know I'm biased, but I think our product is truly the best in the niche from a quality as well as improvement standpoint, or our bundling. And it's amazing to me now. The number one competitor in the market is selling 30,000 a month. 30,000. It's like mind-boggling to me. Here I'm at like 20 units a month, and I'm happy. They've been in since 2017, and they've got 17,000 reviews. Right? I don't even care to catch them, but I'm at number 2. I'll take number 2, number 3. You know. But what's interesting to me is how they're making money at their discounted price, and they probably aren't, but they probably don't have to, right? So they're using it as a lost leader, in my opinion, where for me, it's not a lost leader. I got to make money on it, you know, but we'll get there. And I think tweaking. So we tried to pick a product that was in that like $20 range. You know, my product's $17.99 to $21.99. And it's amazing. The few dollars makes a big difference.
It is. Yeah, it does.
You know, for me, if something's $17 or $20, it's the same price to me. So I just buy what I want. And it's amazing how many people $1, $2, $3 makes a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome,
So
guys.
we're learning a lot about consumer behavior.
Glad to hear that. Yeah. So, I mean, tell me more about your vision. Like, how do you, honestly, guys, I mean, your listing is beautiful, your product is beautiful, improvement, everything, right? I mean, the video that Paul made, it looks like $1 million brand, to be honest. It looked like a Hollywood movies, I would say.
What a great.
Yeah. And that being said, what is your vision like, you know, with your Amazon venture? Could you please elaborate more? What's your vision?
When I first got into it, you know, so I'm looking at, I probably have between 5 and 10 years left before I retire. If I'd like to replace my salary with Amazon at a minimum. And at that point, if I'm doing one product a year for the next 5 to 6 years, I get 5, 6 products going. I'm hoping that even if a few of them don't take off and a few of them do, it's a win, right? I think with your strategy, hopefully all of them will take off. So I'm not sure yet, but that's sort of my vision in terms of replacing my current salary. So when I retire, it just is, it's sort of mailbox money, if you will. I know there's still upkeep, and as we get better and better at PPC and better at
Amazon Seller
Central, but you know, creating products, doing improvements. I mean, the product that I chose just happened to be a hobby of mine that I used. So I knew what I didn't like about the products that I was buying. I was buying my competitors' products, and I knew what frustrated me. So a lot of times people really have a hard time making improvements. Honestly, my improvements weren't that hard for me to make, but they weren't, you know, they were, I put a lot of different things together of different products that I liked. So it wasn't like it was a land breaking thing or, you know, some mind boggling thing that I came up with. It was just, I put things together, and it worked. you know, and people like it. So right now we're sitting at about 19 5-star reviews. We only have 5-star reviews, so we don't have anything other than a 5-star review. We're hoping we get more and more people commenting, right? Because that's what, as soon as I can drop PPC, then I make the margin that I wanted. But I knew that's going to take time. So, and we're in this for the long haul, you know. So, yeah, so that's sort of my vision. We do want to create products that are complementary.
That's what I was going to go to next.
Yeah, complementary. So we sort of create a brand market where we can do a website. We have 3 or 4
Amazon store,
like an Amazon store that has complementary products to what we started. Not that we were, you know,
we didn't plan that.
We didn't plan it.
It just seems like the next logical step for us. But as we get to know this niche more, and we get to know how broad the consumers are of it, that if you were to, you know, I just think about when I go out there and it'll suggest, okay, you bought a blouse. Would you like a pair of earrings and a belt to go with it? And a lot of times I will, and it might not even be a like. It could be you bought a car washing kit. Do you need sponges for the car? So those type of logical things that if they're purchasing our initial product, what's the next thing that they would need that would complement what we have? So that's where we want to try to go to from there. As far as I don't know if that would be considered the vision or just our plan for growth of this business.
Yeah, and I already know the next two. I already know the next 2 products that I want to do. I haven't researched them yet per se to see if it's worthwhile doing. I think they're complementary to a point where what we just said, but I'm not sure it's going to meet all the criteria that we need to launch them, right? But if not, I'll just shift from there and do something else.
Okay. Yeah, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your again, you know, your feedback and your experience. For whomever that they're on the fence to joining, what's your suggestion? You know, what's your experience with the support of this mentorship and, you know, and everything? Please share.
I don't know how you can do it without.
That would be my one.
Yeah, I don't even know how you and your husband figured it out. I hope you had help because you know, we're fairly, you know, affluent people and we could not have figured it out. I'm just telling you.
I am technologically experienced. I mean, I manage projects where we are developing websites for Fortune 100 companies. And I'm running those projects. I'm running projects with software development. And I consider myself a very fast learner with technology. And to say that Amazon Central there's so much to it from a business standpoint. But even though I am well versed on things, it's the coaching of what you need to have to align with Amazon. And one thing I am really impressed with is that Amazon has very strict guidelines and requirements for their products. And I think that they do that because they have to try to eliminate people who are selling counterfeit products or, you know, that aren't doing things right. So I understand why Seller Central has the guidelines that they have and why it is you have to go through a lot of these things. But it really does help having you all to help us through that. You know, we are.
Well, when I first started, I mean, literally, I watched those videos and I watched them again and I watched them again. And then there was one where it was sort of a flow sheet of where to start. And then, you know, to get to the shipping agent, do you do a patent? No, you do this. You'd like the flow sheet. And I literally, when I printed it out, it was so small. I took a magnifying glass and I was looking at it, but it helped. And what I realized was I was on step 4 and I hadn't registered my brand. And then I had to go back and it set me back. You know, it set me back. So, you know, even with the guidance we've made a lot of mistakes, but we've learned from them, you
Mhm.
know, and the next time I won't make those mistakes. So, you know, you have to follow the process. And if you skip a step, you know, it can set you back. It really can. Like for the brand registry, I when I went to trademark 411 and registered, I registered the name, not our logo.
Mm.
Well, I happened to put the logo on the product in the box, not the name.
Oh.
It
Yeah.
didn't match. It didn't cross over, right? So then I'm trying to fix it, you know, and I had to have new samples made and have all that stuff so it aligned so I could register the brand. So it set me back probably 3 weeks because I didn't register the brand properly. Because just a little thing, if I would have registered a logo and not the brand or not the name, would have been fine. Just little things like that that really hold you up. So
Mhm.
you really have to follow the process that you guys lay out to the T, and don't jump ahead until you know. And I didn't know I was not doing it right. Until we figured it out. I think you or your husband said, "Okay, what are we doing?" And we're just like, that's when we figured it out. I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know."
Great, awesome. Yeah, guys, then thank you so much, for sharing your feedback and, for sharing your valuable time, with everyone and with me as well. I truly appreciate and I am truly honored, to be your mentor, to help you achieve your goals to the moon.
Thank you. And we really feel that from you all. We appreciate it.
Of course, of course.